a murder, a hidden room, and a demand for revenge from beyond the grave. It was the beginning of a terrifying nightmare, one I could hardly forget, the one that sticks with me even decades later. April 2nd, 2022. The day I moved into the Alderwood Apartments. Apartment 13B, if you're curious. I'd never been superstitious, but maybe I should have been. It was a rainy, ominous day. Dark clouds loomed overhead. The kind of day that makes you want to curl up with a good book, not unpack boxes. The landlord, Mr. Thompson, had given me a quick tour of the place. His warm smile couldn't mask the building's age. "It's got character," he'd said. Little did I know what that character would become. The first week passed without incident. My neighbors, a quiet elderly couple named the Johnsons, welcomed me with a warm apple pie. It was delicious, by the way. It wasn't until April 9th that I noticed something off. I'd been brushing my teeth when I heard it, a faint scratching in the walls. I shrugged it off as the building settling, or maybe a rodent. It's an old building, after all. But then it persisted, night after night, and it got louder. April 16th, that's when I found it, the hidden room behind the bedroom closet. I dropped a hanger, and it slid to the back, revealing a small, dusty door. Curiosity got the better of me. Heart pounding, I opened it. Darkness, nothing but darkness. My fingers fumbled for a flashlight, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me. The room was small, cramped, and filled with old furniture covered in white sheets. They resembled ghostly figures in the dim light. My heart raced as I examined an old, yellowed newspaper article pinned to the wall, dated October 31st, 1993. A murder had occurred in this very apartment. The victim, a young woman named Melissa. And then it clicked. The scratching. The hidden room. It was her, Sarah. She was trying to communicate. But what did she want? I had to find out. April 23rd. I decided to hold a seance. It was a long shot, but I had to try. Armed with candles, salt, and an old Ouija board, I ventured into the hidden room. The air was thick with tension as I began the seance, asking for Melissa to come forward. The room grew colder, the candle flames flickered wildly, and the planchette on the Ouija board started to move. It spelled out revenge. My hands shook and my breath hitched. Melissa wanted revenge, but on who and why? I spent days researching and digging through old records and newspaper archives. It became an obsession. Eventually, I learned that Melissa's boyfriend, Henry, had been the prime suspect, but there wasn't enough evidence to convict him, and he somehow got away with it. And now, Melissa was demanding justice from beyond the grave. Things get even more interesting from here, though normally, I am not the Sherlock Holmes type. But in this particular case, I managed to track down Henry to the exact apartment he was living in. He was living in a small town just a couple of hours away, and the urge to confront him, to make him pay for what he'd done, was ever increasing. As I write this, I can't help but feel a strange connection to Melissa, a bond forged by our shared experience in apartment 13B. I don't know what will happen next, but I do know one thing: I will not rest until justice is served. I may be coming for you, Henry. March 10th, 2023, the day it all began. A gust of cold wind greeted me as I stepped into my new apartment. It had been a long day. With my best friend Sarah, we'd spent hours unloading boxes and assembling furniture. The place was great, an old Victorian building in the heart of London. The charm and history of the area were undeniable. I'd fallen in love the moment I'd laid eyes on it. The first few nights were uneventful, but then, on March 14th, things started to change. It began with whispers. Late at night, I'd lie in bed and hear voices, faint, indecipherable murmurs that seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. At first, I dismissed them as nothing more than echoes from the bustling city outside. But the whispers grew louder. Sarah, ever the supportive friend, insisted I stay with her for a few nights. I relented on March 18th, but not without guilt for imposing. We stayed up late, devouring pizza and reminiscing about our college days. But as I closed my eyes that night, I still heard the whispers. My heart raced. Why were they following me? I returned to the apartment on March 22nd, determined to face my fears. The whispers had become a constant, low drone, unnerving but never escalating. I decided to confront them. I roamed through the apartment, searching for the source. Each room was dark and silent. That is until I reached the basement door. A chill ran down my spine as I descended the creaky steps, fingers trembling on the railing. The whispers intensified, their tone frantic, almost angry. "Who's there?" I croaked. My voice was shaky. "Silence." I froze. The whispers resumed, now louder, their urgency palpable. They seemed to be coming from a corner, near a dusty old cabinet. As I approached, I noticed an ornate box tucked away behind it. "Stop," I whispered, my breath hitching. The whisper ceased. Heart pounding, I reached for the box. It was heavier than expected and cold to the touch. Inside, I found a collection of items: a tarnished locket, a yellowed diary, and a small, cracked mirror. I felt compelled to open the diary, its pages brittle and discolored. It belonged to a woman named Emily. Her words painted a tragic tale, a life filled with anguish and sorrow. She spoke of her love for a man who abandoned her, of a baby she'd lost, and of the despair that consumed her. My hands shook as I closed the diary. The whispers returned, a single word echoing through the room: help. I knew what I had to do. Emily needed closure, a chance to move on from her tormented past. I gathered her belongings and, with Sarah's help, we set out to find her final resting place. The wind howled as we stood before Emily's grave on March 27th, the moon casting eerie shadows across the cemetery. We offered our condolences and placed her items on the cold, damp earth. As we turned to leave, the whispers faded away. Emily was finally at peace, and so was I. If you enjoyed this spine-tingling horror video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to stay updated with our latest content. And if you dare, leave a comment below with your thoughts on the video or any chilling experiences of your own. Thank you for watching.